In this episode, we continue with our voyage to the frozen continent of Antarctica.
We explore the scenic passages and wondrous Paradise bays, encountering curious penguins, seals, and whales along the way. The trip is a wildlife lover's dream.
We travel further along this isolated continent, encountering an island where we hear the tumultuous journey of an explorer who, against all odds, survived 18 months stranded in a region that's as deadly as it is beautiful.
Crossing the world's most savage passage, we arrive at a group of islands that have been the matter of dispute between two nations for decades. Here we get up close and personal with some friendly tuxedo-wearing locals who show us their idyllic home.
We try out the best amenities on board our luxurious cruise ship before returning to the continental coast of South America. Here we meet the local wildlife of the Patagonian steppe before trying some of the best regional and traditional fare.
Our last stop takes us to a historic yet progressive city full of great sights and wonder. Join us on the second and final episode of Antarctica Cruising from Antarctica to Buenos Aires.
In our previous episode, we explored in detail the lively city of Buenos Aires, Argentina, before setting sail on the Celebrity Infinity to Antarctica, stopping along the way in the world's southernmost city. So we're here in the Schollaert Channel, which was discovered in 1898 by Gerlache when he came through the area. It was named after Franz Schollaert, the Prime Minister of Belgium at the time. And behind us here we have the islands of the Palmer Archipelago, almost in Paradise Bay.
It wasn't long after entering the channel we encountered our first gentoo penguins and were enamored by the way they skip, or porpoise as it's known, through the calm sea. Penguins porpoise to breathe while maintaining the high forward speed, to get away from predators, or to take a look at their surroundings, and what stunning surroundings they are. It wasn't long before we reached the famed Paradise Bay. Also known as Paradise Harbour, the name was originally used by whalers operating in the area in the early 1900s and was in popular usage by the 1920s. In 1950, a shelter was erected near the Chilean base to honour Gabriel González Videla, the first head of state to visit the Antarctic. The shelter has now been designated a historic site or monument by the Antarctic Treaty. The area is now best known through tourism for its significant beauty, carving of iceberg formations, and abundant marine life that wander through the nutrient-rich waters of the Gerlache Strait. Gerlache Strait, or Detroit de la Belgica, is a channel separating the Palmer Archipelago from the Antarctic Peninsula. The Belgian Antarctic expedition under Lieutenant Adrien de Gerlache explored the strait in January and February of 1898, naming it for the expedition ship Belgica. The area is best known for the marine life that inhabit these waters, supported by the extremely high krill biomass in the West Antarctic Peninsula. This includes resident seal and killer whale populations, along with migrating humpback whales in high abundance, estimated at around 3,024 in 2013.
Recognizable by their vertical spouts that reach up to 6 meters or 20 feet, fin whales are also abundant in these waters. Fin whales are the second longest animal in the world after the blue whale and can grow up to 27 meters or 89 feet. Like most large whales, fin whales were hunted almost to extinction, with over 725,000 of the southern species taken between 1905 and 1976, with only 38,000 left by 1997. The slow population recovery is stable, but estimated to be at less than 50% of pre-whaling state by 2100. We have a lot to thank towards the anti-whaling campaigners from the latter half of the 20th century, and campaigners even today, as they fight for the justice of the valuable marine life that inhabit our wondrous oceans.
After a cold Antarctic night, we awake the following morning in the outer reaches of the South Shetland Islands, off the coast of Antarctica.
Another beautiful day in Antarctica. I don't even need to wear a beanie or a jacket right now. That's how warm it is. Behind me here we have King George Island, and we're on our way to Elephant Island. So today, it's going to be a very special day. How's the view, Chiggy?
Stunning.
This is our view. And these are the South Shetland Islands. Okay, so today is our final day in Antarctica. We're starting off this morning by heading up to the theatre, and we're watching a lecture on climate change and then one on seals, and hopefully we'll get to see some elephant seals today. Heading out to Elephant Island, where we'll learn a little bit about the exploits of a man named Ernest Shackleton, who lived a very tumultuous life, had a very tumultuous adventure in this area. Let's do it. So behind me here we have Elephant Island, named so because of the shape of the island. Supposedly looks like an elephant, or the fact that on the other side of the island we have a big elephant seal colony over there. So this island became famous in 1917 when Ernest Shackleton and his men arrived here on the island after being stranded in the Weddell Sea, and the sea ice down there for almost 500 days they spent at sea, and several months that was spent in that sea ice there. Their ship, the Endurance, had completely been destroyed, and they had to make their way out here on a small boat known as the James Caird. And when they arrived here on that boat, they spent several months here waiting while Ernest Shackleton and the small boat made its way across the Drake Passage, which we went through the other day and we'll be going through again later on this evening. And they encountered waves of up to 50 feet or 30 meters high, so hopefully we won't be encountering waves like that. But the men spent several months here on this island surviving off the said elephant seals in the middle of an Antarctic winter. And that big glacier behind us there was named after their boat, the Endurance. So it was sort of a fortuitous name that their boat was called the Endurance, considering that perseverance and endurance is what they really needed to get through the journey. How is it, Chiggy?
Beautiful. Aside from learning about the survival of Shackleton and the crew of the Endurance, we also attended a lecture on the effects of climate change on the region given by an onboard climatologist.
Each summer, a significant amount of meltwater is produced, which can only be tolerated for so long before the ice shelf would weaken and retreat. Climate in the Antarctic Peninsula is warmed by 3 degrees Celsius or 37 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning that once stable ice shelves are now retreating. Since the 1950s, this is a loss of 25,000 square kilometers of ice shelf.
The reduction of sea ice has a domino effect on the ecosystem, as bacteria and phytoplankton grow beneath the sea ice. This in turn feeds copepods and krill, which in turn feeds seals, whales, and penguins. As we lose sea ice, we lose the Southern Ocean's ability to sustain its ecosystem.
At home only in Antarctica and its surrounding islands, this penguin species is named due to the appearance of a military helmet and chin strap below its face. The chinstrap penguin is a fast swimmer in the rough conditions and has adapted to the Antarctic waters by colonizing its smaller islands and even on icebergs.
As we say farewell to Elephant Island and the islands surrounding the Antarctic Peninsula, we take one last opportunity to spot some cetaceans from our dining room window.
How was that, Chicky? Pretty cool?
Absolutely stunning. I've never seen so many whales in my entire life.
We were just sitting next to the window inside the restaurant and we saw, how many whales do you think we saw?
Countless.
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 Probably close to 100 maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say so. Every few seconds we saw multiple spots, so.
And in the background there you can see Elephant Island. So we are saying goodbye to Antarctica and we are heading back onto the Drake Passage on our way back to South America. Miranda's lunch. Two massive pieces of cake. They were. Yeah, they're half massive.
Alright, so today's the day we're heading to the Falkland Islands, which we're super excited about because we really want to see penguins in the wild, and you can actually get near them on the beach where their colonies are there. So we're super excited about that. We almost thought that we weren't going to be able to go today because the seas were so rough last night, and this is actually one of the most dangerous tenders in the world, because you actually have to take a 20 to 30 minute tender boat ride because there's no docks in Port Stanley. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, so we're really looking forward to getting out to the Falkland Islands. Of course, it's most well known for its territorial disputes between the Argentines and the British, who now govern the Falkland Islands. We'll get out there, maybe we'll learn a little bit about that today as well, but really looking forward to also just checking out the main town, Port Stanley, as we get into the Falkland Islands. After arriving in Port Stanley, we took a tour south through rugged and wind-eroded landscapes to a beach famous for its large colony of gentoo penguins.
At the beautiful Bertha's Beach on the Falkland Islands, and here there's a big colony of gentoo penguins, and there's some Magellanic penguins here today as well.
Let's explore.
Many penguin species typically live in harmony with one another, and it's not uncommon to see the odd Magellanic penguin or two in a colony of gentoo penguins.
How is it, Chicky?
It is stunning.
Just
look like this.
You're gonna be one of them.
The name gentoo may have originated from the Portuguese gentio, meaning gentile. Another theory is it comes from the Anglo-Indian term to distinguish Hindus from Muslims, as the white pouch on the bird's head was thought to resemble a turban, although this is unclear. DNA evidence suggests that this genus separated from other penguin species 38 million years ago.
Gentoo penguins are the fastest underwater birds in the world. They are capable of reaching speeds up to 36 kilometers or 22 miles per hour while searching for food or escaping from predators. They are also able to dive to depths of 200 meters or 660 feet. Although they prefer to stay close to shore, gentoos have been spotted as far as 26 kilometers or 16 miles out to sea.
Heading back to Port Stanley, we learn a bit about its history as a sealing and whaling base in the South Atlantic and Antarctic waters in the late 18 and early 1900s.
So 20,000 whales shot by that one harpoon gun alone, and there are over 250 on this island, so that's 20,000 that we know of. It's no surprise that whales were almost wiped off the face of the planet during the age of whaling. That was in the early 1900s.
With the hopes of spotting some king penguins, the second largest species in the world, our guide was awesome enough to offer to take us after the tour to a nearby beach where they had been recently spotted.
So we're here at York Bay with Conrad. Come to check out some penguins, hopefully some kings. We've already seen some dolphins and we've got some Magellanic penguins just here behind us.
Even though the king penguins had left the beach the previous day, the journey to York Bay was still worthwhile as the colony we saw was even larger than the one in Bertha's Beach.
So Conrad was just telling us that this used to be a minefield right here up until a few years ago. So in order to show the public that this area was safe, they did what was called a trust walk, where they basically linked hands and as a show of trust or good faith, they basically walked through this area here to show that it was clear of mines. And that's because the Argentina, as part of the resolution of the war, gave up the locations of all their mines located in and around the areas. So behind me here we have the memorial of the British soldiers that died during the Falklands War, which took place in 1982 between April and the 14th of June there. Almost 200 soldiers killed, and our guide Conrad was just saying that it was the longest bomber run in history from England all the way down here during those battles. So this is a memorial to those soldiers that died. Argentina still lays claim to the Falkland Islands, so it is still a disputed territory, even though Britain does govern the area.
At 480 kilometers or 300 miles east of Argentina, it originally had claimed sovereignty over the islands known as Las Malvinas in the early 1800s. Britain expelled the few remaining Argentines from the island in 1833 and rejected Argentina's claims. On the 2nd of April 1982, Argentine forces invaded the Falkland Islands. The conflict lasted 74 days and ended with an Argentine surrender on 14 June, returning the islands to British control. The complexities of the situation were sobering to ponder over as we boarded back onto our ship in time for our special animated dining experience.
Cheeky. So where are we? We're doing our fancy dinner, although we didn't get a chance to dress up nice and fancy.
Right off the tender boat.
Straight off the boat, but look at this. Ooh.
I usually start with sketching my ideas. I even think it's important to think about the color of the table itself. 1, 2, 3. I remember when I started cooking, I was really inspired by dishes like this. I got tired of cleaning up all this mess every evening, and it was costing me a fortune to play. Next, I discovered minimalism.
The experience was entertaining and loads of fun. Best of all, the food was exquisite. Normally, we don't pay for specialty dining sessions on our budget, but sometimes on the ship, they offer last-minute deals if seats aren't filling up. We are happy we took up this opportunity.
We're here at an estancia or a station here in Puerto Madryn called El Pedrol. El Pedrol is an old lodge started up by some people from the Basque Country in the early 1920s. So the original lodge is still here, and we're going to have a traditional Patagonian lamb. So it's done on a spit. They cook it over 4 hours in a traditional way. And we're going to have that for lunch. But first, we're going to go down to Punta Ninfas. So it's the point nearby here where they have a penguin colony of Magellanic penguins. It is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Area that surrounds this region here in Puerto Madryn. Unfortunately, access to Punta or Point Ninfas itself was blocked due to a recent landslide. However, we were still able to access its large Magellanic penguin colony close to the point. So it seems like everywhere you turn, we've got penguins here. There's 16,000 breeding pairs here in this colony, and this is actually a relatively new colony. It goes back to 2008, and it's probably an offshoot from the biggest breeding colony in South America. So these are known as Magellanic penguins, and they're currently going into their molting season. So they're about to head north up to the south of Brazil for the winter. In the background, we have some rheas, which are a type of ratite, and they are related to the ostrich and the emu, a very ancient order of birds. So they are the largest flightless bird here in South America.
Passing through the scrub, we are greeted by nesting penguins who band together in small groups. They have a density of about 20 nests per 100 square meters and will mate with the same partner year after year. Breeding season begins in September each year when the male returns to the same nest or burrow in the bushes and awaits the arrival of his partner. Both parents take turns at incubating their egg and raising their chick until about March, when the chicks are mature enough to leave the nest.
At the end of breeding season, they head north during the southern hemisphere winter to the warmer climates of Peru and Brazil. The biggest threat to Magellanic penguins are reported and often unreported oil spills, which kill approximately 20,000 adults and 22,000 juveniles annually off the coast of Argentina.
Around Puerto Madryn, the provincial government of Chubut is committed to the creation of a marine protected area in order to protect the penguins and other marine species near the largest Magellanic breeding colony, Punta Tambo. The creation of a marine protected area would likely improve the breeding success of the colonies, as well as increase prey availability, reduce foraging distance, and increase feeding frequency.
Asado, barbecue lamb.
Really good.
How's the empanada? They're some of the best empanadas I've ever had. This chorizo as well is really good.
Our second last night on the cruise fell on International Women's Day. We celebrated the female staff aboard the cruise and even had the assistant cruise director belt out an impressive rendition of a Tina Turner classic.
Chicky, you got your lobster. So this is the piece de la resistance. This is my take, or a slight twist on the surf and turf here. We've got some duck and lobster. That's a grand meal.
Our final port of call took us to the capital city of Uruguay, Montevideo. Here we explored the old city by the port with its delicious eateries, historic architecture, and lively atmosphere. A charming colonial town with modern progressive attitudes. Our first impressions were far from disappointed. So we made it to Montevideo, Uruguay. This is my 41st country, and what country is this for you?
75th country. So we've got a day here to explore the capital of Uruguay, Montevideo. We're going to start off here in La Ciudad Vieja, which is the old city, and then we'll make our way up to the center of the city and explore all the sites along the way. But I want to point out this building first. So this is the Palacio Salvo, which was at the time of its construction the highest building in South America. Pretty cool. Let's check it out. Okay, so we've made it to the center of the city now. It's a crisp 33 degrees Celsius. A little bit different to a few days ago when we were in Antarctica. It's really hot, so we're gonna find some shade, maybe some ice cream, maybe some drinks, and just cool off a little bit. All right, traditional parrilla in Montevideo, Uruguay. This is the steak here, grilled to perfection.
So this is one of the most important ingredients. This is the chimichurri. You can put that on top of the steak. Absolutely delicious.
Alright, so we're here on the Celebrity Infinity for the last night of the cruise. We're going from Montevideo to Buenos Aires. So I've got some of the beer from a local brewery called Indica in Montevideo and just enjoying that sunset, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
After 2 weeks of cruising, our journey had come full circle back to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Although the end of our cruise, our South American adventure is just getting started. Join us in our next episode as we head to the southern icefields of Patagonia and tackle the world-famous W Trek.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed our content, please like and subscribe.
And we'd love if you could leave us a comment letting us know what you've enjoyed or what you'd like to see more of.
And help us grow our channel. Become part of the Global Travel Stories family by sharing with friends, family, or anyone you think would enjoy our content. Thanks, guys.